they're gone. Oh, you guys. Oh, they walk through the grass because why are they walking through the grass like that? Why are you doing that, guys? They're hard to see, aren't they? They're like camouflage through our dirty windows. Hi, dear. How you guys doing? Oh, there's a cute one. It's a cute one. Hi, with the little ears. Are you guys cold? You guys gotta stay warm when it gets cold tonight, whatever. Hi. Hi. Oh, there's another one coming. It's like a family. It's like the same family that always comes by. I got a little bit of them. Laverne's very excited. Oh my gosh, what are you doing, Mama? What are you doing? Greetings, everyone. Welcome back to my channel, The Grimm Reader, and to Grimm Vlogmas. Today I was sort of contemplating just doing a talky one and not doing so much of vlogging. Although I think I have so I didn't sort of film the cats eating. I don't have to do that every day. And but then I saw the cute deer in our yard, and I'm like, oh, I should vlog the deer, and I ran to get my camera, and I got a little bit of deer footage. The deer are actually a bit of a they're bordering on being a plague in our area, and apparently the town has decided to even hire sharpshooters who will come and like cull the deer population in bigger yards. Like, we're not gonna have them come here. That would be very traumatic. But I sort of am not that against it. I mean, I know in the big picture where the reason why we've kind of encroached on the whole sort of who was here first type thing. But on the other hand, if there are too many, there are too many. They do make gardening a little bit difficult for Bill. You may have seen in his area of the house, the deer repellent is always around, and he's always figuring out new and interesting ways of keeping them away from his plants, but they still come back. And since we went the natural fence route and didn't build an actual fence, but just did trees, they can get in and they walk around. But I mean, I'm very neutral about them. I mean, I like them. They're cute, especially with the young ones. The Bambis are very cute with their spots. And so yeah, there's the deer. Let's see, I decided, so I'm sort of feeling better than yesterday. Yesterday was very bad, and you noticed how frazzled I was. I was just extremely tired and had to work. Today I feel better. I think I slept better and I have less work to do. And later on I have my massage, which I probably, I'm not gonna be vlogging that, but it's an appointment. And then tomorrow is the actual last day of class where I go in and give the final test. And then there's the Christmas party after that, like in the evening. That's Friday. And then after that, it's really not that much. So things will calm down, and I'm really looking forward to that. This morning I was kind of being jokey, and I said, oh, the Kathy on Holiday monster will emerge, which is sort of super annoying to poor Bill, because I go around like, where does this belong? Why is this here? Why? We need to clean this up, kind of like awakening the needifying person and trying to get things in order and everything a little bit. It was kind of funny. And it's deciding everyone else is a monster too. Mr. T's the in and out, whenever he wants to monster. And anyway, it's just silly. But it is true that I get to be more kind of intrusive into like how I want my surroundings to look, which I like. I like to do that. Our standards are not high, I'm sure you've noticed, in terms of cleanliness. The kitchen's kind of messy. It also is in dire need of some renovation, but we hold off on that just because of who we are. We should really get a new fridge. We really should get a new fridge, and then, maybe work on the other things. But actually, I have to say, there again, the cats are one of the main reasons we don't jump to renovate. Is that like, well, what do you do with the cats? It's so disruptive to their well-being to have to put them somewhere, or put them in the garage, or put them in my office. Once when we were doing the floors, we put them in my office with me for 2 days. They were not happy, and so we use that as an excuse to never do anything to our house, which I think has saved us some money. I mean, we're not people who have to sort of have the newest all the time. And I think there is something to be said for that. Let's see. Tangents. So my reading, let's get into that a little bit. So I have my trusty Hobonichi reading log here that I use for tracking my reading, tracking the little bit of reading that I've been doing. I haven't been doing that much. Back when I filmed my previous reading update video, I think I was finishing Pillars of the Earth, which just kind of fizzled out for me. I didn't like it as much as I did in the beginning. And I think I, on that other video, talked about the Iris Murdoch that I was reading. And so for a while after that, I floundered in terms of finding something. And then I decided on Harry Hotspur of Humblethwaite by my favorite author, or the one I read the most and listen to the most, Anthony Trollope. So Harry Hotspur of Humblethwaite, such a funny name, is one of his kind of, someone was saying somewhere online, true sad novels, or has a sad ending, or just, yeah, no, it has a sad ending. I'm not going to say what it is, but, and it's just, it's unrelenting in its negativity in that sense, and it also has a narrow focus on one family and one sort of storyline, and so that's all there is. And it's interesting because of the main character, one of the main characters, you see a seedier side of London than is normal in his novels. And there's also kind of one character who's sort of, he's hard to take in his how anti-Semitic he is portrayed. The anti-Semitism is showing. Trollope's anti-Semitism just shows too much, and it's somewhat weighed against the negative portrayals of other people who are not Jewish. So, but still, it's still kind of there. I think it cannot be. I don't know how it compares to Dickens. I haven't read or listened to Oliver Twist. I only saw the movie, and the portrayal of Fagin was fantastic. I mean, it was kind of over the top and tropey and cliche and anti-Semitic, but the actor did a fantastic job in those songs. And anyway, so I have that kind of like kids like love of that movie, of Oliver, but I haven't read it. And of course, is he similar to Shylock from The Merchant of Venice? All that kind of the history of those tropes throughout English literature. But I think Trollope is kind of clearly, his actual thought on things is showing there. It's not just the narrator. I mean, that's actually an interesting question with Trollope. How much is the narrator Trollope? Because he has a very an obvious character narrator in there who's always commenting on what's going on, and how that narrator overlaps with actual Trollope. I just kind of naively assume it's the same, because it seems that way. But I guess we have to be good literary people and realize that there's a gap between even that narrator and the author. I don't know. It was still good. I liked it. It was a bit sort of sad, and you kind of saw where things were going. Although all the time I was wondering exactly how the ending would be. You do sort of wonder who's going to end up, or if, are they going to end up? Are they not going to end up? Is someone else going to come along? So it was kind of still interesting to listen to. And yeah, so that was good. And that took a few days, not very long, because it was just a listen. And in the meantime, the main book that I want to do a separate video on is my Trollope, Zola, Émile Zola's novel, in English, the Conquest of the Plaisance, of Plaisance, which is this town that everything takes place in. I was reading somewhere it's supposed to be, what town is it supposed to be? I forget. It's a fictional stand-in for a French town. And I picked up this beautiful German copy with a nice cover and wonderful illustrations by some man who basically was known for his pictures of boats and ships, but they're very sort of, I like them. They're very kind of mid-century. They have, I don't know, they were always just these black and white and sort of abstract, sort of somewhat messy depictions of what's going on, and also they're modern in that sense, which is interesting. Anyway, so that's going really well. It's going very slowly though, very slowly. I only read a few pages a day. I underline. Reading it in German is more, how would I describe it? It's slower because I pay more attention to the language, and everyone sort of seems sort of a little bit through a mist or through a veil And I don't know if that's because it's sort of my second language for reading, but it's still, I mean, I can read it, it's fine. But it doesn't, I read more closely, and there's an obliqueness there that maybe just because I'm not that, you know, occasionally a word will stumble me. I'm not sure if it's that or if it's just the novel itself or the translation. But when I compare the two, the English just seems more modern in a certain sense, and the language. I'll have to do a better comparison of the two and read a bit more of the English. I've been mainly reading the German. And so the extra video I'll make is how it fits into the whole overview of Zola and how things are going with the way I'm reading it. I'm not going to do that now. Suffice to say that, I mean, he is kind of, it's just a family chronicle, but connected to this town and sort of the comings and goings of people coming to this town, and how the sort of, as we say in German, Machtgefüge, the centers of power shift as things shift, and as sort of gossips and rumors and actual things that are happening, and characters sort of bumping up against each other. It's all very interesting and very well done. And what's interesting about Zola always is he has this kind of scientific desire to portray the natural history or sociological sort of situation of his characters. But on the other hand, it's just a good story, and he's a good writer. And so you kind of don't need to know all the overarching theoretical stuff behind it. Although for me, it's kind of adds another layer of interest to it. And so I will come back to you about Zola again. I have done one of those, and I'll do another one, because I have read at least this one and another one, a couple since I've talked last about it. And they're both, the one before that I read was called The Dream, and it was very interesting too. And it's good I need to sort of always remind myself who the people of the family tree are. And there's like two clear branches of sort of legitimate people and the illegitimate people who are, you know, a little bit more problematic in terms of class issues and stuff. And anyway, I'm a Zola fan. I like him better than Balzac, although I haven't really given Balzac enough of a chance. Although I've given him a bit of a chance, and so far, in a way, I like the earlier ones where he's talking about religion better, the short stories. That I started reading him in order for some reason, like the act from 1 to 50 for Balzac. Anyway, so that's going quite well. I love it. I do like it. It's slow, and it's not always sort of page-turning, oh my gosh, but now it's getting that way. And it's more that way than some of the other ones. Oh, they're all good. They're all kind of pretty exciting. I don't know. Some people say that the first one's kind of boring, but I really want to go back and read the first one in the group, the Regard. I always say Macquart, but I think it's Macquart. The Regard Macquart cycle of 20 novels. So what else? I started listening to my first Robert Macfarlane, the British, Scottish nature writer, and also interested in language. I don't know exactly his background in terms of education, but I started just because it was on the audio books, listening to The Old Ways, where he walks these strange old walks, and one of them just was out into the ocean. It was fascinating. And the first one was somewhere in the south, and now he's up in Scotland, and that's fascinating too. It's really good. I like it quite a bit, and it's a good listen. The person reading it has a nice way of kind of almost hypnotic writing about these long walks that Robert is going on, and he's always sort of encountering characters along the way, or an interesting mainly male cast of characters. And I was sort of thinking about how it is a kind of masculine book. It's sort of focused on manliness, and it's not overtly, but just all the people you meet him in, and it's not focused on anything except his walks. I don't know why that occurred to me. That's not really negative. It's a certain type of masculinity, sort of a contemplative, wanting peace and wanting to connect with nature type, but still sort of very British, very. He does sort of talk about other sort of, he talks about song lines of Chatwin and in the Aboriginal way of encountering the world, but it seems to me that it's a topic that could lend itself to a very sort of non-Western or sort of an indigenous approach. And but in a way, what he's doing, especially now with Scotland, and a lot of the stuff with Scotland is about how they're not a part of I mean, he spent a lot of time on these islands. They're really on the periphery of the empire, whatever you want to call it. So it's like, oh, and then that made me think that, well, even, you know, Europe was, even Western history is sort of about people conquering other people. So colonizing, you know, Rome colonizing England, and then the people from the north coming down to Rome, and of course Rome before the Roman Empire. I mean, it's just, it's the nature of humanity in a certain sense, not to be too fatalistic about the whole thing, because that's not helpful. But it's just, it does seem a little bit that way. Anyway, but the book is good. I don't know, I'm going on weird tangents, because that's what my mind wants to do. I'm enjoying it. I'm not sure if it'll be 5, but it's good. It's good. And it's a good listen. I'm looking at my notes. I do have a couple of other projects ongoing. One of them I'll just briefly mention. Let me reach over and do the book thing. Sorry. It's a project to do with the Gaia hypothesis, which I didn't really know what it was, but it's basically this idea that the Earth is a self-regulating system. It's basically fairly scientifically, it's not Gaia like we're all hippies, New Age. Some people contend that Lovelock, the guy who founded it, did go in that direction, but so far I don't really see that. And I came to a set of online videos by this Professor Bruce Clark, who's sort of a literature science guy. He's a bit of both. He was also in some band, like very different upbringing. Like he was in not a rock band, some kind of pop, old-timey band. And there's pictures on his website of, I'm like, is that him? It's like, yeah, it is. I'll see if I can find out what band it was. But he wrote this book called Gaia Systems, which I just started, and he's really trying to focus in on the other person who's sort of responsible for the Gaia hypothesis, which is the microbiologist Lynn Margulis. And I think I came to being interested in it through being interested, just sort of honing in on some things to do with biology. And I just wanted to know what it is. And then I saw this video of a talk, and it was really interesting. He's the professor of literature and science at Texas Tech University in the Department what is he? Professor of literature and science in the Department of English. So he's sort of more an English professor type, but he has his interest in science. He also wrote a book called he edited a book, Neo-Cybernetics and Narrative and Post-Human Metamorphosis, which sounds interesting. And this is called, this is focusing on Lynn Margulis, and then Neo-Cybernetics and the End of the Anthropocene. The end of the Anthropocene, which of course we're not really in the Anthropocene. Didn't they kind of decide that we're not in that? So we're in the end of something that we're not really in. Sorry, I'm being silly. But I like the beginning of it. It's just kind of a step, sort of the early, how the paradigm shift that was related with Gaia systems and this idea that the Earth is an organism and that it's self-regulating, that was it was inconceivable, I guess, until these people came along and sort of quasi-proved it all. Tried to scientifically prove it using, experiments to do with stuff that I don't need to get into. That's a bit beyond my expertise. The atmosphere and stuff going on in the atmosphere. And anyway, so fascinating stuff in my opinion. And the talk that Bruce Clark gave was very interesting too. And I took notes and I thought, well, I need a book. So that's one project. And then I have another one that's even more sort of in the beginnings, and it's poetry in general, but specifically the poems of May Bersenbrugger. Grew up in Massachusetts to Chinese heritage, and then her other parent was Dutch, I think, but they I don't know where America comes in, but she did grow up in Massachusetts. And her poems are really interesting to me, and I'm just sort of feeling my way into them, which I have a feeling is what you're supposed to do with them anyway. They're not really conducive to step-by-step analysis in the same way other types of things are. And I just have this feeling, and I was doing it again this morning, it's almost like, how to explain this? It's almost like a feeling of danger because you, or me, you being me, I lose myself in the sort of the world of the poems and the world that's being conjured up there in terms of how we relate to everything and how I relate to everything, so much so that I lose the desire and also the ability to just get on with my day in a very practical way. And I guess it's sort of like it puts you in this meditative state that I want to stay in, but I have to rip myself out of it to get on with work. And I want to go back to that. It's almost like it's a different way of existing. And I want to go somewhere where I can just exist in this world of poems and connections. And it's hard to describe. It's very vague. I know I'm not making a lot of sense. But in a way, I do love it. I do love it. I do love the world of the way that connecting to a poem, it's almost like a flow state is what I would say. And it's different from fiction or reading fiction, which is also a flow, but it's different. That's not as withdrawn from the world. It's not as, what's the word? So it's not like a daydreaming, I don't know, but it's for I'm removed further from what I need to get done, my to-do list, so to speak. And I think there's a good thing there. For one thing, it's a way to fill the time that is interesting, and it's better than a lot of other ways to fill your time. On the other hand, it does make it hard to get back to reality. How do you combine the two? How do artists exist? I guess, I think it's attention for them. And I'm just noticing how bad the lighting is. Maybe it's just me being blind. But the sun is sort of out right now, which is nice. But it's like it's all kind of dark and unclear. See, I've already chatted for 21 minutes, so that's my vlog for today, guys. I really apologize that this was going to be that kind of vlog as opposed to in a vlog. Well, I hope you understand that that's just how Vlogmas is going to be. Sometimes it'll be like this, and other times it'll be more typical. So, yeah, I better not talk anymore, and there's not going to be a lot more footage of anything today unless something super interesting happens with the cats. And this will be my Vlogmas for tomorrow. And I think it's going okay. I'm getting enough traction to keep me going. And thank you. Thank you for everyone who's reading and writing. And as I said before, another thing I want to get back to doing is watching yours and commenting on your videos too more. I have not been able to do that yet. Just because of other stuff going on. Anyway, I hope everyone's doing well. I hope this sort of made sense. It's sort of a bit of a mess. But it was, I guess, a reading update of sorts. And I will come back with other stuff tomorrow. Bye.